Cut the volume on. Greetings, everybody. I'm Tieesha, and I'm back with another great video. I want to say thank you to everybody who has subscribed, who has been, just sending me different videos for content because, I took some time off to handle some things, off camera, and I'm like, wow, I'm ready to get back. So thank you to everybody who has also let me know that they have joined or suggested books for my 2021 reading list. And I want to apologize in advance. Stuff always happens right before I go live. And yes, I told y'all before I cut the camera on and go live, I have like a checklist of things I have to do, from adjusting the lights, make sure the camera is level. I always brush my teeth right before I go live. It doesn't matter if I do a video first thing in the morning, I brush my teeth. Right before I go live, I brush my teeth. I know that's so weird, but that's one thing. I always have to, make sure your nose is clean, go blow your nose. But one thing that I didn't realize to do before I started recording was eat some food. And it's so funny because I uploaded a video last night about some terrible food that I had. And I apologize, everybody, for all the swear words I had to say. I just had to get that off my chest. So y'all saw the Tieesha that comes out every blue moon. But yeah, I took a nap before recording this video. I think that's why I'm like really kind of just calm because I took a power nap and I'm like, I didn't eat any food. So if you hear hopefully my microphone, it filters some of that out. But if y'all hear it, hey, I'm sorry. I'm going to eat some food after this. But this will be a great video today. Shout out to everybody who is joining on Facebook. Also, also on YouTube, shout out to Brother Michael. Shout out to Waffle House. I just lost my appetite. Thank you for that. Everybody else, Fundu, Mark by Smiths, Brother Jason, how are you doing? And I'm glad that you're here. You had quite the rant. Oh my gosh. But yes, today we're going to talk about one of the books that is on my 2021 reading list, and it's for March, and it is a Black History reader. And this book was suggested by our sister Eve, who is going to join us in a few minutes to speak on the importance of teaching Black history accurately. One thing that we have to be mindful of is that we've been miseducated, okay? Many of us, we do have an ignorance when it comes to the truth and facts because we've been miseducated. Now, having an ignorance is not a bad thing because you come into life with the ignorance. You have this blank canvas and you're ready to experience the world, learn the world, and have your cup filled. So there's a difference between ignorance and stupidity, if you ask me. Okay, ignorance, you know that you don't know everything. There's things that you do not know, but you're also welcome to receive facts, have your misconceptions corrected. However, when you come across someone who is just stupid, they think they know everything. You can't teach them or tell them nothing. They're not open to correction. And to me, that's the difference between an ignorance and a stupidity. Okay, so on this journey to re-educate the miseducated, and especially myself, like I know there's a lot of things I do not know, and there's a lot of things I have to experience, and that's why as of yesterday I drove down to Albany, Georgia, and I'm sorry to repeat that because I got to learn how to talk Georgia. People pick on me, they're like, where are you from? You got an accent. Like, I'm from Ohio. There's a whole other kind of dialect down here. So when you read it, it'll say Albany, Georgia, but here you call it Albany. So I was in Albany, Georgia, and I had this urge to go just out of the blue. I mean, it was on my list to visit, but I just got up yesterday, tipped down there to go to the Ray Charles Memorial Park. Beautiful drive. I wish I had went today because it's like super sunny. Yesterday we had some clouds, but it was absolutely beautiful. Had a great time, and I didn't know that on this day, March 7th, 1979, is when Georgia issued a formal apology to Ray Charles because they had prohibited him from performing in this state, and it was the Atlanta court that had fined him and banned him because he refused to perform in Atlanta. And I was talking to a good brother last night. This is just some history on the sidebar. And, Atlanta has a nasty history towards Black people. I know people are like, yes, the Black Mecca and Wakanda, whatever. Atlanta has a nasty ass history towards Black people. And I saw this firsthand when I drove over to Alabama and I went to the National Memorial for Peace and Justice, the lynching museum and park. And in Georgia, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, I could have this mixed up, but as far as Georgia, Fulton County had the most lynchings of Black people. Atlanta is a real nasty place. So, yeah, there's just so much more history that has to be discovered. And, we can't allow our history to get washed away and, tarnished and taught inappropriately. So without further ado, our sister Eve is here, and I'm going to have her come on and introduce herself. It was a post that she had made this week about a school curriculum. And so we're going to go in that article. So I'm going to give her a chance. I'm going to bring her on. So, and I'm going to unmute her. Hey, Sister Eve, how are you? Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can y'all hear me? Okay.
Yes, we can hear you. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And thank you so much for recommending a Black history reader. I had no clue that this book existed. Of course, when Dr. Claud Anderson is mentioned, it points us to Powernomics, which is another powerful book that is on my reading list for later this year. But it was you who encouraged me as soon as you made the post to purchase this. So can you talk to us a little bit about, the significance of a Black history reader by Dr. Claud Anderson?
Okay, so, well, firstly, I just want to start out by saying that I am merely a student of Black empowerment. Master teachers like Dr. Anderson and Dr. Westling and Dr. Ben, they've all paved the way for me to be able to do what I'm doing. We've got people right now like master teachers like Mr. Tariq Nasheed and Mr. Professor Black Truth and Mr. Jason Black. They've all shown me that the work is far from over. I've learned the power of being uncompromising by these elders. So when I found out that this book existed, I had to get it, and it's so easy to read. I mean, you can pick it up and flip to the first page and read it to the end, or you can flip through the index and pick a question, something you might have never thought to ask, and then get an answer. He answers it so succinctly with references. You can look it up. It's my favorite book, honestly.
Forgive me at the last minute. I am going to switch screens and take us over to Dr. Claud Anderson's website so that everyone can see where they can make this purchase. And I'm heading over to powernomics.com. And I just want to salute you for saying that because we have some great master teachers who have, dedicated their life to leaving a legacy behind and leaving, tangible items and, just years and years of research telling us who we are, where we come from, and giving us the blueprint to, succeeding and, persevering on this land in this world, So I just want to say thank you to all of our master teachers and those who we still have. What piqued my interest in our history was Hidden Colors. I had no clue that existed until I went to a Black bookstore in Norfolk, Virginia, the House of Consciousness, and they're the ones that put me on. So shout out to Brother Omic and Sister Drea out there. So this week, like I said, you had shared a post about racist history lessons in public schools. So can you talk to us like what sparked that post and what you have been doing behind the scenes in regards to encouraging accurate teachings of Black history?
Absolutely. It's so important. I see the damage of learning inaccurate history on a daily. When our children were in the public school system, the teachers knew that we knew something was up, but we didn't keep our children enrolled in the public school system long enough for us to disrupt what they were doing. However, working in the school system, I witnessed the finesse. So I mean, it might surprise you guys, but learning accurate history is cross curricular. That means that it's not just social studies, it's across all the classes. And if you, as a parent, are sending your child to the state school system, if you're not equipped with accurate information, you won't be able to do anything. It'll be too late. Um, the post, it was about, writing a letter home to your family in Africa after you had been stolen and were an enslaved person here in America. That I can't even believe that we're still talking about teachers doing things like this. But it's been such a unique opportunity inside of COVID that parents are watching what's happening in the classroom. You can literally see in real time what your child is learning. But if you don't know what's going on in the world, I mean, as far as, accurate history, you might see this assignment, you might feel some kind of way about it, but you won't be able to do anything about it. So that's why, Dr. Henderson's book, The Black History Reader, if you don't know anything, it's such a good start for learning something about it, whether you want to know how many different groups of people have come to the United States, how many resources those people have, or I mean, it's a lot of information, but it's really easy to read. Um, so that was the post.
And that's absolutely amazing. Thank you so much for that. And the post that that Sister Eva is referring to, I have it up on the screen, and it's in regard to a racist school assignment. And like she said, this occurred at a Mississippi middle school, which apologized. And you know how we feel about those apologies. After eighth graders were asked to pretend that they were enslaved people, including writing letters discussing their journey to America and the family that they work for. During Black History Month, a Florida high school teacher was suspended with pay after allegedly telling students slaves were not whipped by white people and that the N word, a racial slur, just means ignorant. And this another one occurred February of 2020, where a student teacher in Tennessee gave her fourth grade students an assignment called "Let's Make a Slave," about a speech from the 1700s about keeping blacks under control. And in 2019, a fifth grade teacher was accused of holding a mock slave auction in which white students bid on black students in New York. And I recall something similar to this, when my son and my then bonus children attended school in Virginia. And I had them bring, their assignments home. But once I started teaching them at home, I bought books by Angela Freeman. We watch Hidden Colors. We continue to research, and they knew which assignments were wrong. They brought it home to me. I raised hell. And when you said now having, our children at home and the virtual school and stuff like that, we now are involved in what is being taught. If you should be listening to what, the teacher is teaching your child on the computer. Don't have them with the earphones in, listen, hear what's going on, and step in and correct those things. When before our children left for 8 to 9 hours a day, they'll supposedly do their homework, we'll never see it. So this is a prime opportunity for us to definitely get involved now that there's going to be a new normal as schools start to open back up. So Sister Eve, do you have any tips on how parents can become more involved and play more of an active role in their children's education?
I am so happy you asked. And then one thing really quick before I get to that, because you said something about an apology. And Dr. Anderson said an apology with no funds does absolutely nothing to help the 44 million blacks who are stuck at the bottom of the barrel. So I think it's really important that we pay heed to what our, elders have been teaching us about what we need to do to get what's owed to us, and then to make sure that our children aren't thrown into the lion's den without the armor that they need to protect themselves. So with that being said,
Absolutely. And I'm sorry, go right ahead.
it's kind of a long story, but I'll definitely make it go ahead.
Sister Eve, you're perfectly fine. Go right ahead. I'm just switching screens to Powernomics. I'm sorry for that interruption.
Oh, no, it's okay. I was a little lost, but basically, all right, us as parents, we have to do some work. If you're going to send your child to the public school system, you basically have given yourself more homework because they're not going to give your child the information that they need. So while it's excluded information from the currents, like what they're learning in school, you can definitely get this information on your own. Dr. Anderson has a slew of books to help you be comfortable, you know, knowing what's owed to you and knowing how you can help your child in the school system. So my colleagues and I kind of came up with the strategy where you are just teaching, you're making sure the T for accurate history, the A I'm sorry, the E for ensuring that you're equipped with the information, the A for assessing the school that you put your child in. Like if you don't look at the data, how is your child measuring up against the top 10% of that school? And then what surveys has your school put out to kind of see where they are? You can use that information to give your school a report card. And then from there, figure out what you need to do to help your child succeed. The C in teach would be to create a safe space for your child to dialogue and voice concerns with you about the issues that they're experiencing. Because let's face it, they have racist peers. We just saw the story about the little boy who was at the sleepover and they made him drink the urine and they were abusing him, and it was just awful. But if we don't know what's going on in the world, we might just think that they're all kids and they're going to have a good time, and then something really bad happens because you weren't prepared as the parent. You sent your child into the lion's den and you didn't give him anything. The H in teach is to hold yourself and the people in charge accountable. The state standards for every state has the Department of Education has standards where they're holding themselves accountable. They're saying that we have to have these pass rates, we have to have these scores, we have to do this, we have to do that. And with that being said, if you don't know what those standards are, you won't be able to hold them accountable for anything. Like our tax dollars pay for the program that is public schooling. So, if that being said, you have to make sure that your money's working for you. In Virginia, they look at the standards every 7 years and they commit to changing it every 7 years. Each state has their own different, yearly requirements. And us parents, we can really make a difference by knowing what happened in the past and then letting the teachers know we know what happened in the past. You can't teach them this anymore. Like in the same instance where science teachers had to relearn about Pluto. I don't know how old everybody is, but I learned that Pluto was a planet, and now my children are learning that it's a dwarf planet. It's not a planet anymore. So the teachers had to learn that, and then they had to reteach it. So it's not a big thing. They know how to do it. This can be happening across not just social studies class, it's in the English class, it's in the
And thank you so much. Yeah, we're in the same age group because yeah, we grew up, with the acronym for the 9 planets, and then all of a sudden Pluto is not a planet anymore. I believe at one point in time they were teaching that it was one of Neptune's moons. They were just kind of all over the place with that, and you definitely opened my eyes to, the curriculum outside of just history to other parts of the curriculum. Science, there's this push to change this whole family dynamic and introducing inappropriate things to children as young as in the kindergarten and first grade. So yeah, we definitely have to get involved with that. And I know a lot of people, when we voice our concerns with the curriculum, they're like, well, we need our own black schools, need our own black schools. And what you said was absolutely, brilliant. We're taxpayers, we're homeowners, and our funds go to keep these schools open. They go to these programs. So we have a say so, and it's just a matter now of becoming so passionate and invested that we become active and speak out and make change within our schools. So thank you so much for that.
Real quick, I have it's I wanted to make it known that even though I understand it's an expense, sending your child to a black school, it's practicing paradomics. Dr. Anderson tells us that we have to circulate the black dollar. In the Black History Reader, he's got Powernomics Principles for Politics. That's on page 130, where we have to play to win. We have to get tangibles. We can't accept apologies. It's just across the board. This one book, really, truly, I'm sorry. I know that, I just keep coming back to it, but I feel like that's what we're talking every black household to get this book and then to know the information that's in this book. And then once you know this information, you will be very comfortable, navigating these scenarios where, you might not be getting all of the information. And then what do you do about that? And then what do you do when people get the information before you? If you were owed it first. I don't know. I have so much respect for Dr. Anderson and all of, the people who gave me a voice. I wouldn't be here if they weren't here, and he's still here. So everybody listening to this broadcast, live and not live, you need to go get this book. And if you already have the book, get it for someone you know, because every black household needs this book.
And thank you so much for that. I credit my mom. She showed us the movie on the story on Marva Collins. And shout out to and rest in power to Cicely Tyson, who portrayed her in the film. And Marva Collins, in a nutshell, her story was that she was a school teacher in Chicago, and she grew fed up, the standards that the milestones that her children were not overcoming, and she was, upset with the politics and things happening within the Chicago public school system. She started her own school in her attic out of her own pocket on a school teacher salary, along with her husband. They made it happen. And as a result, in my hometown of Cincinnati, we had Marva Collins College Preparatory School. So yes, that is practicing group economics. Malcolm X stated that we should not have the enemy educating our children. And like I said, we have a part to play being taxpayers, but we have a say so, but we have to take an active approach to what is being fed into our children as well as ourselves. If we can stand here and say, look, I was miseducated, then there's no surprised that the same thing is happening to our children. And I'm happy that you brought up page 130, because I'd actually bookmarked. I have not read a Black History Reader yet. I'm late on my schedule because I just got finished reading Condemnation of the Goddamn behind me. I just finished that a couple of days ago. So now it's time to start this one. But I actually bookmarked page 129. And what a Black History Reader is, it's 101 questions you never thought to ask. So, each chapter, each page has a different question to ask. And how our children are, forbidden from raising their hands and challenging, even us coming up, we were taught to stay in a child's place, don't question even the most asinine things like the Tooth Fairy and the Easter Bunny. But I bookmarked page 129. And it's question 42. Is there a voting guide for the average Black American voter? And this past year has been one hell of a year. I mean, there's certain family members, we had arguments. It divided us because when it came to voting, you had the ignorant who's like, I don't know everything. I want to learn. I want to see a different perspective. I want to let go of what I've been taught to believe. And then you had the stupid who felt as though they knew everything and they pretty much, were marching off a damn cliff. So now we have to deal with the ramifications of that. So I'm so happy that you brought up that page, and I won't read exactly what's in it because I want to encourage you to pick up this book. Is what Sister Eve was referring to: Powernomics, Political Principles. Okay, and Dr. Anderson lists a total of 6 principles that we should go into any type of voting situation with, and we should not be going into it on some feel good. And the days of that is behind us. We saw what that did to our ancestors. We saw how their movements were co-opted, exploited, and how they were used. And hopefully, with this past year 2021 into 2021, we make better decisions. So Sister Eve, how would someone go into, let's say, creating a curriculum or doing homeschool, supplemental teaching to their children, and teaching them, starting out with local politics and introducing the political arena to their children?
I think the biggest thing that parents can do, because let's face it, most of us were taught inaccurate history. So we're kind of grasping at different things, if we don't have a foundation like, Dr. Anderson or Dr. Wessling or Shahrazad Ali, or, if we didn't find them until later, our foundation was a little bit lacking, to say the least. But with that being said, you can look at your children's homework. They bring the stuff home. And when the homework says things like George Washington was the father of the nation, you need to tell your child that he fathered a lot of enslaved Africans. And then that starts a discussion. Everybody knows George Washington had slaves, but we don't talk about what that really means. Or if their homework comes home with, Thomas Edison created the light bulb, and that you might have heard something on Facebook that said something about a black man with the light bulb, you need to Google it and you need to find out the information, because Lewis Latimer is the reason that Thomas Edison's light bulb was able to do what it did. COVID allowed the parents to see these Zoom classrooms. So right now, even if you don't know the information, you can pay attention. And when you start paying attention, you'll see everything that I'm talking about. You'll see the lack of the information. I mean, you'll even see teachers trying to supplement it on their own, but they can't do it on their own. They need to know that you're paying attention, and that when they do change something up, that you have their back, because their administration might not. So they're kind of, floating by themselves and hoping that they don't get caught. Don't make it like that for the teachers who are trying to help. But again, if you're not paying attention, you won't even know which one of those teachers are trying to help. So right now, the best thing that you can do as a parent is pay attention to all of it. You're right there. They're right there at home with you. I don't know what else you should be doing. I understand you're working. You've got work. You've got bills. You've got stuff. But this is your legacy. It's my legacy. I'm paying attention. I need y'all to pay attention too. We all have to pay attention.
I salute you for that, and for everybody who's joining us, I'm here with our sister Eve, and we're talking about the importance of teaching accurate Black history, and as well as introducing my 2021 reading book for my reading list for 2021, suggested by Sister Eve, which is a Black history reader by Dr. Claud Anderson. And I salute you, sister, because you speak your truth, not your truth, you speak the truth. You share the truth, and you're so unapologetic about it. We both done some time in Facebook jail and the bans. So I just want to thank you for what you do and what you continue to do to, expose the stupid and, re-educate the miseducated. So thank you so much for what you do. Can you talk to us about your Facebook group and the mission of your group that I have strolling down at the bottom? You can follow Sister Eve on Facebook as Citizens for Reparations. Can you talk to us about that and how we can support?
Absolutely. So, Citizens for Reparations is a Facebook group that we came up with because we're citizens and we are owed some reparations, and it seemed like a good title to name ourselves. Outside of that, Black people in America, the foundational Black people of America, are owed reparations, and it's never been paid. And the Black History Reader actually has a few different questions that talk about reparations and how many times the United States has paid reparations and why Black people have not gotten reparations. So, if you were confused or wanted to know some more about reparations from Dr. Anderson, you should definitely get the Black History Reader. But with regards to the billboards, I was listening to a broadcast from the Black Authority, and he does billboards, whereas, he can't be the only person putting our message out there for people to see it. So I said, okay. And I asked people if they wanted to buy a billboard, and they did. So we bought a billboard, and it was before the 2020 election. And we put it in Norfolk, Virginia, because it seemed like a good spot. And it said, no tangibles, no vote, no kidding, which was definitely an homage to Professor Black Truth. Because if he hadn't have said it like that, I might not have received it how I received it. But when he said no tangibles, no vote, and we aren't kidding, I really felt that. And I know you guys felt it too, because 30 days later, we bought a billboard and we put it up. And then the election happened, and 10,000 less people voted in Norfolk than they did in the 2016 election. And I know that that's only 10,000, but it was a dip. So I don't know how other people's cities went, but where we put our billboard, it made a difference. And I heard people talking about it in the grocery stores, and we just heard different things about no tangibles. Well, Black people aren't getting anything. Okay, so we're not voting. No, we're not kidding. And that's what happened. Um, we put another billboard up in Scranton, Pennsylvania, or the one you have up right now is in Memphis. And it says that it's time to put it down because I guess our main mission for Citizens for Reparations is we have a Black First agenda. And, as Black First individuals, we are owed something from the country we live in. And the foundational Black people who allowed us the opportunity to be here in 2021 are owed a debt. And with that debt, the rest of everybody else can do what they need to do. I mean, history shows us that when the people who need to be in control of the resources are, things flourish. Right now, we've got, the opposite of Ma'at going on. It's chaos, and we've got global warming, we've got extinct species, we've got inaccurate history being taught. It's just all over the place, just this stuff. But Black people, we're a magical people. We just pick it up, we just put it on our backs, and we just keep it moving. And this billboard is hopefully reminds Black people that, while we can lift it, it's not for us to be lifting anymore because we really need to be focusing on our tangibles, our reparations, what's owed to us so that we can do what we need to do in the future for our legacies, for our children, because we're not going to be here for forever, but they will. And maybe they won't be here for forever, but their children will. It's a cycle. We have to do this for them so that they can do it for them, so that there is somewhere for them to be. And if we don't do anything, there won't be anywhere for them to be. So if we keep putting on everybody's problems, whether it's Black Lives Matter or All Lives Matter or feminism or Democrats and the Republican, we need to put that stuff down because we need to focus on us. So that's what the most recent billboard in Memphis. And then we had another billboard in Scranton where we told Joe Biden how much he can pay the foundational Black people of America. And I think the number we came to was $20 trillion. So I think I've seen other people say more than 20 trillion, but I think 20 trillion is a good start for cash payments. Reparations isn't just cash payments, but that would be a nice start. So we've put up 3 billboards. I'd love to put up some more. We can only do it with your help, though. So if you go to our Facebook, it's Citizens for Reparations. We've got a Cash App there and a PayPal there if you want to donate. If you have a city that you want to bring a billboard to, you just let me know in the message, or let me know in the donation. This should go towards this city, and we'll try to make it happen. But it's really only happening because you guys wanted it to happen. And I said, okay, I don't mind putting the paperwork together to make it happen. So that's that's where we are.
And I just want to say, I really appreciate you. I thank you because, it's sisters like you who I want to support wholeheartedly and really, uplift you because out of everything in the world you could be doing, out of everything that's designed to, destroy us and have us chasing our tails and, just on the wrong path. You're a brilliant Black woman, a mother, just the things that you do. I'm really proud of you, and I'm really honored, the example that you're setting for all of us. And so, yeah, everybody, I have the Facebook group ticking at the bottom of the screen. And shout out to Black Voltron Reloaded for sharing the contact information for the book and everything else. You brought up something earlier, and I'm going to close this out with this. I just thank you for your time. And I know it's getting close to the evening time and, things to do. But you mentioned, the importance of teaching our children their history, who they are, where they are, their place in this world. And society has us, as you have in your billboard. I absolutely love it. We carry everyone else's issues. We're so rah rah for everybody else when those things turn against us. And I'm going to do a video on this. It's so heartbreaking, but this is an important video because the elders have dropped the ball with teaching us, and those our age with children are teaching our children that we're such in this post-racial world. We have friends, we are the world, and we're seeing our children get severely harmed to, murdered. There was a black brother in Louisiana who was found dead in a sugarcane field after his parents allowed him to go with, these devils who the investigation is still ongoing, but from what they gather is that he was drugged and later he was found dead in his sugarcane field. As you mentioned earlier, there was a child who the mother knew that her child was being bullied, and she allowed him to go out of her care to, someone else's house where these children were unsupervised, beating her child, being, little terrorist devils, beating her child, forcing him to, drink urine and, hitting him in his personals and stuff. This has got to stop. And so that's just fuel for another video. But this takes me to within the first couple of pages of a Black History Reader, question number 6. Are Black Americans more vulnerable to terrorism than other Americans? And long story short, Dr. Claud Anderson, yeah, yes, we are. And it's time for us to teach our children who their real enemies are, the dangers out there. So it's one thing to teach our children about stranger danger and stuff like that, but with so many things around, the enemy is coming at our children from all angles. So, Sister E, can you talk to us, as a mother, we're children too. So can you talk to us the importance of, not only teaching our children, but us? A lot of us are real absent-minded to the dangers that are lurking, around for us. Can you talk to us about that?
It's funny. I saw a post on Facebook earlier, and it said something along the lines of, we watched our parents grow up, like as we grew up, we watched our parents grow up. And it really hit me because, I never really think about it like that. I do think about the fact that, I might not have been taught everything I was taught at home, the different conversations that I have with my parents about what they didn't teach me. And, okay, it's not your fault, but, you weren't taught accurate history and you don't really know who to blame. And, it's just a sick cycle of, perpetuating inaccuracies that once once you start learning, the pieces start connecting, especially I feel like as a Black person here in America. We have a very unique experience to the land and to the culture and to each other that, if you do, little things like just buying this $30 book. I mean, it's just one book. It's less than 300 pages. It's really easy read, but these 101 questions that you never thought to ask will really give you little boosts in your knowledge and in your ability to be comfortable knowing the truth, because they taught us lies. I mean, I try to sugarcoat it sometimes because, I don't like to just call it a lie, but it is a lie. If they're leaving out information, that's also a lie. So if we're not comfortable calling it what it is, then you're not going to be comfortable talking to your children about what it is. And a lot of times parents will say, we have to let the child be the child. I don't want to talk to them about that. It's not time yet. And then you have a situation where your son or daughter is in school and their friend can't be their friend anymore and they don't know why, and they're just so upset because we're just so loving, we're just a loving people, and as children we just see the good in everybody, and we'll just be friends with everybody, and then now you can't be friends anymore with little Timmy, and you don't know why little Jenny doesn't want to sit next to you at lunch, and it's because your parents didn't give you the armor that they were supposed to give you if they were going to throw you into the lion's den. So, as a mother, as a partner, as a daughter, I feel like I have responsibility to all of these Black children to make sure that my peers know what's going on. And if you don't know what's going on, you need to know what's going on, because you can't help these babies if you don't know what's going on. I feel like I'm singing a song.
But you
But what's
stated it
going on
so
is
so
that Black people need
elegantly, so
reparations.
elegantly.
Well, thank you. Thank you. But I don't know. I think the main message really, Dr. Anderson wants us to get our tangibles. He doesn't want us to give away things for free. We've been doing things for free for 500 years, and it's time to get what's owed. And really, I read a story earlier today about Miss House and Mr. Isaiah. Oh, I can't remember what his name is. But in 1890, they were fighting for reparations. In 1890, that's 30 years after slavery was supposedly officially over. They're fighting for reparations. And they say out of their mouth that they've never had the amount of opposition that they've ever had in their group. It's like it's never happened before. And here we are in 2021, and we're still dealing with these internal oppositions. It's amazing. But it does show me that we're kind of on the right path, because if we didn't have any oppositions, that means that we wouldn't be heard, or that our message wasn't going anywhere. So I'm appreciative of the pushback, but it would be really nice if other parents got comfortable being uncompromising when it comes to their children. If you can't be uncompromising for yourself, fine, but do it for the babies, because they need it.
And I love that word. And shout out, you mentioned him earlier. Shout out to Professor Black Truth, Jason Black, Tariq Nasheed, Dr. Claud Anderson. All of our master teachers who are just waking us up, organizing us, and getting us on one accord, one mission, and that is our reparations, and to define ourselves, not we're seeking to, commingle with everyone else and get, erased and forgotten about. No, this is our culture. And that's one thing I was thinking about on my drive when I was headed down to South Georgia. We have a culture. We are not a cultureless people. We're not, wanderers and just out here with no direction. This is our culture, and we have a beautiful culture. We have a great family around us, and it's time for us to really, get on code. That's the best way to sum it up. Get on code, and that's one thing I saw as soon as I saw your Memphis billboard. I'm like, on code. We're black first. My my blackness was determined before my gender was. Okay, that's how a fetus develops. Okay, so I will always remain on code, be black first. And my sisters, my brothers are not my enemies, those are my brothers and sisters. And I salute you, Sister Eve, for risking long bouts in Facebook jail. I love your Facebook profile. It says account is in warning status, and mine is too. So thank you for being unapologetic and keep making them uncomfortable. Let's continue to make the stupid ones uncomfortable. Let's like I said, re-educate the miseducated, which includes ourselves, protect our children, support each other. And yeah, make sure you go pick up Dr. Claud Anderson's book, A Black History Reader. It's listed right here on your screen. It will also be in the description. Sister Eve, do you have any final words as we go ahead and close this out? But I want to before that, just say thank you for, taking me on another step, raising me up another step with, feeding me this book right here. I really appreciate you with this, and it will be shared with everyone that will listen to me. So thank you so much.
Well, I just want to thank you for having me on and for giving me an opportunity to share a little bit of information. Like I said, I am merely a student of Black empowerment. We have so many excellent master teachers that are out there for you to learn from. And the new Black media is available for you to get your current events and, the where we are and how you can attack white supremacy where you are. So just thank you for having me, and maybe you'll have me back one of these days.
I want to say, yeah, thank you so much. And I look forward to meeting you again in person. I'm not sure if I clicked off the mic when I said that, but yeah, I look forward to meeting you. You're always welcome. I'm your sister forever.
Black first.
Black
Y'all have
first.
a good night.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us tonight. We were here with our sister Eve, who is responsible for our powerful billboards in the Facebook group Citizens for Reparations. Make sure you head over to her Facebook group where you can donate towards the next billboard, either via Cash App or PayPal. You can also join that group as well. You can subscribe here if you enjoyed this video. Let me know if you are going to read a Black History Reader, if you're going to reread a Black History Reader, or if you're going to get it and share it with somebody else. But thank you so much for being here again with me on another video. I greatly appreciate you. And I'm going to come over here and stop sharing the screen. So thank you so much for being here with me today. Like I said, I'm reading a different book throughout the year. There are some other books that I'm playing at the same time on my road trips. I'm listening to different audiobooks. So if you have a book suggestion, send it to me, because I had no idea that this book existed until it was recommended by our sister Eve. We will be back, because we have, like I said, brother Jason Babalard. He's an author. He has his book, Black Serviceman to Black Veteran. That is on my reading list for next month. So you can pick that up. And I have all the books listed in the description, of course. You can purchase there, or if you have a local bookstore. I'm going to actually vlog up to Nubian Bookstore up in, I believe it's Morrow, Georgia, pretty soon. So I'll check y'all out there as well. Like, subscribe, share. If you have my phone number, you can call me. I'll answer if I'm not sleeping or driving. And I will see y'all on the next video. Thank you so much for watching. I love y'all, and I will see y'all